Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I am emptying my freezer and anything that was frozen last year from my garden I will have to address, and some of it I'm gonna preserve further, cooking them into soups, and I'm gonna can those because there's no way I can eat all this over this weekend and they really need to be taken care of. The next thing I have to use up is my leeks from last year. I have probably a couple of pounds, 6 bags of leeks. My goal is to make leek and potato soup for canning. So I have a 6-quart pot. I'm gonna put in 3 tablespoons of avocado oil. You can use any kind of oil or lard, even bacon fat. That would taste good. I have the pot on high. I'm gonna put in my frozen leeks and start melting them down and sauteing them. I'm going to put a big pinch of salt and I hope this is going to reduce a lot because I want to be able to make this pretty liquidy for canning. I don't like to can anything that's too thick. It took about 20 minutes for all the water to evaporate, and now I am just sauteing on the oil. And I'll do that for probably about 5 minutes until the next step. So this is done sauteing. I'm gonna put in a little bit of a garlic. I have some preserved garlic, and I'm going to put some garlic powder as well. 1 tablespoon. And then I'm going to use some chicken bouillon. You can use vegetable powder or chicken broth or vegetable broth instead. So I'm going to put in about 4 tablespoons. And I can put some more in later if it's needed. I'm going to put in, to begin with, 8 cups of water. And I already peeled and cut up 2 to 3 pounds of potatoes. I'm gonna cover this up. Boil the potatoes until they're nice and soft, which probably gonna take me about 15 to 20 minutes. See you back. So the potato is cooked. I'm gonna go ahead and use a hand blender to blend this. You can certainly blend it in a blender or not blend it at all if you like your soup to be big and chunky. And you want to taste it because the final and the soup should be a little bit more intense flavored, because when you serve this out of the jar, you're probably going to put some cream or milk or sour cream or cheese to serve it. So I like to make sure that it's on a stronger flavor side. I'm gonna prepare my canner. I have 3 quarts of water in here based on the recommendation of my manufacturer of my canner, so that goes up to a certain point in the canner. And I also have an insert that's gonna keep the jars off the bottom of the canner. And I'm gonna put a little bit of vinegar in this. That keeps the jars from getting cloudy. I'm gonna turn this on high and start heating it. In the meantime, I had sterilized my jars on 215 in the oven. I'm gonna need 11 jars. These are pint-sized jars. So I sterilized it for 15 minutes. I prepared my tools for the canning to lift my jars. I have a wooden spoon to debubble, although this probably doesn't need to be debubbled, but I do. A clean funnel. I'm gonna have my lids ready, and I'm gonna put them into hot water. You don't have to, but I do. Put those into hot water, and the rings are going into the hot water too, as much as possible. I got a wet paper towel to wipe off the rims of the jars. The soup is nice and hot, almost boiling, and my canner is heating up. So by the time I have the first 6 jars filled, it's gonna be hot enough, so I'm not putting things into cold water. I have a kitchen towel, so when I take out the hot jars from the oven, they're not gonna crack. So let's begin. I'm gonna do the first 6 jars because that's all that fits on my counter here. I'm gonna start filling my jars a ½ an inch from the top, which is the bottom of my funnel. This one is a little too much, so I'm going to take out a tablespoon. Bye! Have a good day! I'm gonna wipe off the rim of the jar. Anything that spilled on it in the process will have to come off to make sure that we have a clean place to put the seal on. What I probably should have done is just make sure there are no bubbles, although it's too liquidy to trap bubbles, really. And then do the wiping. Okay, that wasn't too bad as far as dirt. Now I'm ready to put on the lids, which are nice and warm. Like that, and now the rings. I'm gonna start tightening the rings over the lid just enough so it keeps the lid down over the jar's rim, and move the first jar into the canner. I am very hungry today, so whatever's left over, I'm eating it. So based on what I have left in the pot, I'm probably going to have 2 more jars to fill. And it looks like I can probably just fill 1 jar, and I'm gonna eat the rest. So I can move this back onto the cools off. So wiping this again, make sure it has no bubbles. Lid and the ring, nice and not too tight, but just enough so it holds it down. And move this into the canner. Come with me. So I have 7 jars in the canner. I'm gonna go ahead and process this because anything else that I'm gonna cook later will need more space anyway, so I don't think I can wait for another batch, because technically this canner will hold 11 pint jars. Make sure you maintain your lid for your canner by making sure that you can see through the valves. This has also a valve here, and make sure you keep your seal nice and clean. I'm gonna be ready to put the lid on, seal it. The stove is on the highest setting. This spot on the top will start pushing steam out. When that occurs, I'm gonna time it for 10 minutes because I want the steam to push out all the air out of the canner, and that way we'll be able to build up the pressure that I'm gonna need to pressure can. And this valve here, it's gonna pop up to close up the canner, and we'll be back when I see the stream of steam coming out of this spout. So it didn't take long for the steam to come out through this spout, and I'm gonna time this for 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna turn down the heat while this is steaming and airing out to medium, because I don't want it to boil too hard at this point, and I'll set the timer to 10 minutes. See you back. Once you have vented your canner for 10 minutes, then you can put your 10 pounds weight on it, on the spout. And now we're going to turn it up to high until the pressure reaches the appropriate level. I'm going to be pressure canning on 10 pounds where I live. I try to be between actually 12 and 15 pounds. Just to be on the safe side, because if it goes below the 10 pounds, then I have to start over. So I never want to go below 10 pounds, meaning I'm going to stay on 12. When it reaches 10 pounds at least, I'm going to turn down my stove just below simmer. At least that's how my stove works. And I'm gonna start the timing process. For the pints, I need to can them for 75 minutes. If you're doing quarts, it will take 90 minutes. So this will keep increasing a little bit, and it's gonna settle down around 12. And I had started the timing. Time is up. I'm gonna turn off the stove, and now it's just a waiting game. I'm gonna wait 1 to 2 hours for this to cool off. What I'm looking for is the meter to go down to 0 pressure. This valve's gonna drop, and then I can take off the weight without any steam coming out of the canner. See you then. It's been a couple of hours now, and the pressure is on 0. This valve dropped, and if I take the weight off, there is no steam coming out. However, the canner is still very hot. After 2 hours, it's gonna be still hot, but no pressure in it. So you can open it at this point or leave it longer to cool off more. I usually take them out after 2 hours. Just be very careful with opening and removing the top. Keep it away from your face because there could be some hot steam still in there. And just do it away from your face. So I'm gonna take them out now from the canner, one at a time. Here's my potato leek soup. It's still boiling. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna put it on a kitchen towel to cool off. Here we have 7 jars of delicious leek and potato soup. I'm gonna let these cool totally until tomorrow morning. It's only 5 p.m. today. And once they totally cooled off, I'm gonna take the rings off. I'm gonna wipe the jars to make sure there's no dirt anywhere, meaning no leftover particles from the canning. And I'm gonna label them with the date and the content and take these jars into the pantry. And this is how I would serve the soup, with a little bit of sour cream, a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and some cream. It's gonna be so delicious. I hope you enjoyed this canning video and you'll do some of your canning if you've never done one. It's really just all about following the instructions that came with your canner, and it is safe. You can, of course, you can't leave the house while you're canning. You have to keep an eye on it. I hope you will be back. See ya!